Ashton TV joined by manager Steve Cunningham after defeating the FA Trophy against Clitheroe. Gaffer, another defeat, but you look, have you dried out? You can hear the rain now, and you stood there and cheating the lads on from the sideline.
Yeah, well, flipping heck, midweek I was soaking wet with tears, I think. But today's a different sort of circumstance. You look at the weather and the way it is now. I mean, fair play to our ground staff. You look at the pitch, it doesn't even look like it's been played on, and there's no standing water or anything. So, fair play to them, because they've put a lot of hard work into that. Congratulations to Sean Cornville and his team at Clitheroe. They've done a really good job today in terms of the first half. Raced into a 2-0 lead, which we seem to be happy to start giving teams 2-0 head starts at the minute. But really tough circumstances that we find ourselves at the minute. Tuesday was disappointing, and I think when I did my interview, I've come back reflecting on that. It was a great opportunity, and I think that's why I was more angry about the team of what we had sitting in front of us. Whereas today, you look at who we've got missing, and people say, oh, don't look for excuses, but I am going to use it as an excuse in terms of, if we were going to play Clitheroe in a game, or run call minutes in a game where we've got everyone fit, we beat them. And I don't mean that disrespectfully, but you look at who's missing today, and the way that the game ebbed and flowed. First half, Clitheroe have done well with the 2 chances that they had, and could have scored maybe another one. They had some good chances. We just didn't get going at all. But when you're missing Sean Newton and Sam Baird, your 2 centre-halves all season, not playing, Sean dropped out on Thursday. You're missing Callum Rowe, Louis White, from your 2 central midfield positions who normally play with Willem, who's playing with one leg. You've got James Hardy missing, who's not even kicked a ball yet, and then lo and behold, Jason Gilchrist, top goal scorer, because he gets injured on Thursday as well. So he was already down to the bare bones, and then to come in today and have to put Wade Rutherford at centre half, who's not kicked a ball since pre-season, alongside Sean Holden, who's a 21-year-old loanee. You've got Willem playing in the midfield with 2 young kids, Brad Taylor and Mikey O'Neill. It was always going to be difficult today, and we knew that. Clitheroe are a good side, that they can cause you problems, and they did do that. But when I look at it and go, if we're full strength, I think it could be a different outcome. There's no guarantee, but I certainly think that. So I'm not going to be as hard on the team and myself as I was on Tuesday after that performance, because I thought first half Clitheroe were the better team, second half I thought we were the better team for large parts of the game. We just didn't really create enough chances to really go and get that second goal, which might have then kicked on to go and win it.
Obviously, changed it at half time, double changed it, bringing Alburn and Luca on. It really did give a bit more of a width to the side. Yeah,
well, we went with Tom Denton, and everyone always says, oh, you should start Tom Denton. You can see why we don't sometimes, and that's no disrespect to Tom. You lose your width, but also in conditions, it's just easy to start lobbing up to Tom. And then you've got young Dan, who's on loan from Morecambe, playing alongside him with Daz. There was no real cohesion because the midfield isn't right, and also the back line. Let's get it right, the 2 goals we conceded were really poor. They were really poor. So when you go 2-0 down, you've got to change it. And I felt sorry for Dan and for Dent, but we had to change it, and we had to change the shape. And then it's about who's going to last the minutes, because we only had the 3 subs with today's squad player availability. So we went with Daz up front because he would see the 90 out, whereas Dent would probably struggle to see that out. And it did make a difference. Don't get me wrong, I think Luca and Al have had a real good impact on the game. Luca scored again. But we've got to be better. I think there's players that are still miles off where their capabilities are. We've dominated the second half without really testing their goalkeeper. I think Ditch, the centre half, big lad, blonde hair, he won about 10 headers. So he's done really well for them, and he's cleared a lot of the balls that we were putting in, but we just lacked that cutting edge. So yeah, we changed the shape and it seemed to work for us. We just obviously couldn't get over the line in the second half.
Full week off before we're back in league action on Saturday, Whippertown here at Hurst Cross. Is it just recuperation?
Yeah, very much so, mate. We've got a big week this week, training Tuesday and Thursday. We've got 2 or 3 players coming back next week, hopefully. We should have Sam Baird back, Sean Newton and Gillick. All 3 should be in the squad for selection for the Whitby game. But I think we've got to go to the market. And honestly, mate, if I said to you, the 2 chairmen, David and Jonathan, have been unbelievable with me this week and the last 2 weeks. They have said to me, go and get players if you need them. And we have needed players, but you've got to get the right ones, and the right ones just aren't available. I've had some players asking for some crazy, stupid money for the levels that they think they're good enough for, and the miles off it. So you've got to make sure you get the right players. but they have literally helped me in every way possible this last week. One, as a morale booster, because I've done a bit of a, typical emotional roller coaster interview where everyone thinks I'm probably going to resign or jump off a cliff, and I certainly drove past a few on Scotland on Thursday, and it very much entered my mind. But I've got to remember I've got 2 beautiful kids at home, which makes it all more reality that football sometimes doesn't really matter. But the 2 chairmen have given me every opportunity, and I want to thank them for that, because they have said go and get players. So I don't want the fans to think, oh, what's going on, why are we so depleted? You've got to remember we've got players on loan as well. We can't bring them back because of the 28-day loan. And I don't want to just go and just rampage the chairman's bank book just because we can. It's got to be right, because then you're going to be stuck with too many players. But we've got a big week. We've got an opportunity to just regroup, have 2 good training sessions. We've got a great group, so everyone's morale will be good. We trained really well on Thursday. We haven't took today lightly. Like Bury have, they've took the game and sent the 21s and got beat 7-0, which I think is a disgrace. We could have sent our 21s today, our under 18s. No problem at all if that's what the rules are allowed to do, but it's the morale of it and the principle of the competition. So we've still, with a limited squad, still tried to produce a display for the crowd. I can only apologise to them because first half I heard some shouts saying, can we have our money back? But they've got to realise where we are at the minute in this current sort of moment. Players injured, players playing injured, players out on loan, players just not available, and it's tough. And you want to beat Clitheroe, you want to beat Runcorn and progress in the cups, but we do have a bigger picture, and I think we've just got to keep a calm head now. Dust off this week. This week's been a bad week, don't get me wrong, but I do think there's enough in there with some additions, the right additions, that we can go and kick on, and our season starts again now on Saturday against Whitby.